Sometimes, when we start a new job, we are full of life and ready to conquer the world. But in the case of ending up with a narcissistic boss, that initial honeymoon phase of excitement of starting your new job will inevitably and surely lead to your derailment, losing your sense of self and well-being if you are not careful to stay clear of the ensnarement of the narcissist death trap. Hello everyone, this is Free Your Mind 1111. My name is Paul, and today I would like to go over 6 signs that you may have ended up with a narcissistic boss. So, you are at a point in your life where you finally have gotten your dream job and things are going great, but there's just one thing that's not adding up. And that is your manager, who is just rubbing you the wrong way and you're not sure how to figure out this person. And so I'm going to go over 6 signs today, 6 clear signs, and maybe some more subtle ones that your boss is very likely a narcissist. So number 1, the first sign that your boss may be a narcissist is that they're going to make subtly degrading comments towards you. Now, keyword subtle. So they are probably not going to come right out and say, "Oh, you're such an a-hole" or whatever, and they're not really going to be that straightforward. It's going to be little digs under your skin about your character, your personality. And so one of the things that I remember, just when I had started this new job in a college setting, I was working at a front desk, and it was literally within like the first 2 weeks, my manager was saying, "Oh, how you're not very expressive, and you're kind of dull and such and such." And so she was attacking my character, basically. I mean, only within the first 2 weeks. I mean, she hadn't even gotten to know me yet. It was still new, and she's already passing these judgments, which weren't even true. And so they will make these kind of subtly degrading comments to get under your skin, because they are the ones who are hurting inside, and so they are going to try to hurt you and bring you down in any way possible. So, number 2 on my list for the signs that you may have ended up with a narcissistic boss is the narcissistic or psychopathic stare, or they might call it a narcissist glare. And so this is basically when the narcissist is studying you. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. And so I did actually experience in the same job that I had just explained to you. So when I was first meeting my soon-to-be manager, I think it was maybe the first day or second day on the job, and I was speaking with my soon-to-be coworker at the time, and my manager came down. There was multiple floors to the building, and so she came down up from the second floor, and she came down to the first floor, and without saying anything, she just continued to stare straight into my soul. And this continued to last for it was probably a good 10 to 15 seconds. And I remember thinking that it was very odd, because when you're meeting somebody, especially in a professional setting, you should introduce yourself and get to know each other, and there really was none of that. It was just a really cold, empty stare. And so that is really a huge red flag that you could be dealing with a narcissist. And once again, the stare really is, they're kind of like an alien that's, studying you, and they're trying to study your every move. So that's number 2. Number 3 on my list is skewed reality. So the narcissists live by their own they live their own little world of paranoia and, making a big deal of things, and, things are so hard and everything has to be so difficult. And so if you are working with a narcissistic boss, they're going to make minuscule tasks seem like they're really difficult, and they're going to describe them to you, and they're going to say, okay, so you need to do this and this and this, and oh, if you need extra time, yada yada yada. They're just going to be superfluous, and they're going to say a lot and explain and over explain about things that are just so simple and so common sense that it's just there really needs no explaining. And so, they live in this reality of things being over exaggerated and things always being such a big deal. And this is one of the things that, I remember with my narcissistic mom growing up was, one of the things that, we had chores kind of like any other normal kid would have growing up. But one of the things that my mom's huge pet peeves was, if the dishes weren't washed, it was like her entire mood would be affected. She would just be miserable. She would just complain. And it was just such a huge deal. Everything was just such a huge deal. Even though, there would be dishes, yes, and the sink would be full. But it's not like, the whole house wasn't full of dishes. It was just, she really acted as if the world was basically coming to an end. Everything had to stop. And so one of the things you'll come to realize in working with a narcissistic boss is that they have perfectionistic standards that are really impossible to meet. And so one of the ways that they do this, which is very manipulative and sneaky, is that if you have a narcissistic boss, your human mistakes that you're going to make on the job, and I'm not, I'm saying, the normal mistakes that you make that are inevitable, they are going to take those mistakes and they are going to blow them way out of proportion. They're going to write you up. They're going to put you on improvement plans. You're not going to be able to pass, your performance, your yearly review. They're going to say that, oh, maybe you might have made the mistake once. Maybe you were at the front desk and maybe you made the mistake of calling the wrong employee, and they're going to say, oh, well, you make this mistake all the time. You're constantly disrupting the workplace with your, calling the wrong people. And their standards will be completely impossible to live by because, you have to be impeccable. You cannot make any mistakes. And so overall, they have this reality that they live in that is just very, it's kind of like the Twilight Zone. And they're going to try to suck you into it. And so the next one that I have here, number 4 on my list, which kind of goes along with the one that I stated previously, is that if you have a narcissistic manager, they're not going to give you any approval or positive recognition. So like I said, you are going to get written up for like normal human mistakes that happen seldomly. You're going to get bad review. Your hard work that you put into this job, the things that make you unique, the skills that you bring to the table. Maybe you're bilingual, or maybe you are great with customer service, or maybe you have great technical skills. You will get absolutely no approval. You'll never hear, oh, you did such a great job. And I mean, even if they do, it's only with an agenda. They might be trying to uphold a persona of being the helpful manager when really they're not. So, keep this in mind. If you are a hard worker, and you bring a lot to your company, you're never going to get recognition from your narcissistic boss. The only thing they're going to be focused on is all your mistakes. And really, you likely are not even making that many mistakes. You're probably just being a normal human being, and you probably are making less mistakes than other people are. But they are only going to be focused on the negative. So number 5 that I have on my list with figuring out if you have a narcissistic boss is narcissists love to gossip about other people. And so in the professional setting, they're going to be gossiping about your other coworkers. And so they're going to try to pull you in and make you feel a sense of camaraderie and, belonging to them, by making it seem like, oh, I'm opening up to you, and, where, I'm spilling the tea, and they're going to try to make you feel like, oh, like this is, she's, we're kind of like bonding. And so this is their way to try to get you to become close to them, which is really a crappy way of doing that. I mean, you should try to like get to know somebody and, maybe talk about, hobbies and such, but they're going to love to gossip about people and say, oh, well, did you hear about that? And, what is your insight on this person? I heard that they, did terrible, in such and such, and they're just trying to get the nitty-gritty of the person, and they want you to jump on their bandwagon with them. So if you have a manager that loves to gossip, very likely this manager could be a narcissist. So the next one that I have, the last one, is probably one of the most important signs that your boss may be narcissistic, and that is your gut. So especially if you are an empath, even if you're not, but generally when somebody makes you feel very uncomfortable, and for me, I've experienced this feeling many times before, and the way I can describe it, it's kind of like this primal sense that you're about to be pounced on, that you're about to be attacked. And narcissists, they're predators, and you can feel their energy. You can feel, even if on the surface they're trying to be cordial, they're trying to be nice to you, you can feel that they're like literally about to like jump on you and just go ravage and savage, and they just can't wait to get their hands on you. And it's really this feeling very uncomfortable, kind of like you just don't want to be around them. You kind of want to jump out of your skin. You just feel very uncomfortable. And so, really trust your gut. If you feel very uncomfortable around a certain person, then they very likely could be a narcissist. Typically, I don't tend to feel uncomfortable around that many people. I don't feel great around everybody, but, in terms of like picking up on their energy, but, with narcissists, it's really, it's a specific type of energy. It's very like, there's a lot of anxiety to it. It's just very uncomfortable if you've ever experienced it. So just always trust your gut. And so those are pretty much the signs that I have for today. And so, if you have these signs, and this is, once again, this is from my experience growing up with a narcissistic mother and working with, a number of narcissistic bosses, you really need to protect yourself. And, at the end of the day, I can't tell you to take a job, or not take a job, but, there's really, at the end of the day, you're putting a lot at stake. And so if you decide to work with a narcissistic boss, you have to remember these people, there's no middle grounds with these people. They're going to try to do everything to tear you down. They are going to write you up. They are going to lie about you. They are going to ruin your reputation. And if you're a person of dignity, really, you have no place working with this kind of people. And so, I see a lot of these videos online, and, it kind of irks me at this point that says, oh, how to work with a narcissistic boss. Well, that's how to manage maybe not completely losing your mind with a narcissistic boss. But the thing is that why would you want to work with somebody who is going to be, on a daily basis working to your derailment? Why would you want to be in that kind of environment? Because even if you were to try to, refute or fight against the narcissist, especially if that person is a covert narcissist, they're going to be very good at hiding who they are and being the chameleon and changing their personality around people to be able to manipulate the situation and seem like they are not a narcissist. So you're basically, you're not really going to win against them. I'm telling you right now. And so at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is it going to be worth it to sell out and lose my sanity for a paycheck? Because as time goes on, you're going to lose your sense of self. You can become clinically depressed. You're not going to be able to enjoy things in life. It's going to bleed into other parts of your life, and you're going to be miserable. And so really be careful. Pay attention to the signs, and stay clear of these people. That's, the only thing I can say. It's time wasted, and it's time that you can't really get back. So, choose wisely and stay away from these toxic, dangerous people. Thank you for watching.